Hi, welcome to another lawn fawn video. I'm Kara. We're going down to the farm today where the goats frolic and play. So we're using You Goat This, Tiny Farm, Build a Barn, the PopUp Platform, and the PopUp Platform add-on right here, the slimline picket fence, and this stitched hillside borders and slimline forest borders, Henry's ABCs, cloudy stencil, and here we go. I have all the pieces to the barn cut out, and I'm gonna just take what was ever left on this blending brush and kind of just, I don't want my barn to be too pristine. I mean, come on, it's a barn. It can get dirty, so I'm just giving it a little of that weathered look to it. Uh, Not too bad. I mean, this is a functional barn, and it looks like they painted it not too long ago. But you know, barn, it can stand to just have a little bit of dirt hanging around. All right, once I have that all blended, and like I said, not too much, I'm opening the doors. And with these tiny little doors, what I like to do is take my fingernail and push it one way and then push it the other way just to get the door kind of flexible, and then give it one last little score. And look, there's my door open. And I'm going to do the same with the top. So the window opening there. And then I'm gluing on the panels behind the barn doors so that they will be red. And you don't have to do this if you don't want your barn door to open, then you can just glue it right onto the barn. I've got these tiny little windows and frames, and so I'm just gluing the white frame onto the window. It's going to be dark in the barn, so that's storm cloud cardstock. My barn is chili pepper cardstock. It'll be dark up in the hayloft as well, and since I have the inset there, I need to hold them together some way, and so I'm just putting a piece of scratch paper on the back, and that'll hold it well. Now, if you didn't want that to show, you could do it in red. Maybe I should have. But anyway, now I could put the shutters on and the roof lines, and then I'm going to put a piece of storm cloud cardstock behind the barn door. So when you open those doors, it will have that same dark look behind there. And just glue that on and then glue the whole thing to my barn. A nice detail with this build barn is that they even have some edges for the base as well. And so I want to glue those on, and my little tiny windows, which I think are so cute. And then to decorate this barn, there's a star, and I'm going to put that star right above the door. And in our area of the world, a lot of times barns will have like a quilt block painted on them, and it's fun to go around and see the different quilt blocks on the barns. All right, piece de resistance, there is that weather vane. I just love that. And that's out of mirror cardstock. All right, time to ink up the characters. We're taking some goats. This is going to be mainly a goat farm, but also all the other animals too from Tiny Farm. Got those inked up in jet black ink, cleaning off my stamps, and now I can start coloring. And I'm using Copic markers to color these. Each goat is going to be a little different. Now, the ones I stamped out of the set are all the kids, so there are some larger goats as well, but to get them to sit well on my pop-up box, I just chose 3 kids, and this little guy, he's going to be the darkest brown. He's E30s, so 35, 37, just going back and forth. And then this little guy is going to be gray or whitish gray. So I'm using cool grays on him, and he's got some darker spots. I actually come back and make those darker, but just blend everything into his body. And I'm also putting in some texture, some shaggy fur. But I darkened up this section, and I'll come in with even darker shaggy shagginess for him. And what I like to do when I'm adding texture like that is I'll put that on, but then I blend it in so that it looks like it's part of the fur instead of just kind of lying on top of the fur. Here, this guy is going to be E50s and a little lighter of color of goat. This is a fun thing about these goats is that when you look up goats online, they are all different. I mean, it's nice to have such a variety. My husband has a cousin who has a goat farm on the other side of our state, so near the La Crosse area. And we took the kids there one time, and oh, it was so fun. These goats are such fun animals. They're really characters, and they got to milk them, and it was just I felt like a good mom taking my kids to a farm because we really don't have many opportunities to go to a farm these days. Well, all right, so you can see the shagginess this goat is getting in there, but definitely want to push that back into the fur a little bit so that he's not looking like he's got stripes. I'm going to darken him up a little bit just to give him more definition. And I gave him a combination of E50s and E30s so that you could kind of see a bit of a contrast a little bit for him. There's a bit of an attraction near us too in Door County, Wisconsin that has it's a restaurant that has goats on the roof. And so people like to go to the restaurant just because there's goats up there. I don't know. Woo! We've got lots of fun going on here. All right, on to our other animals. Here's our sweet little cow, and I decided he needed darker spots. So a C8 for his spots, and then giving him just some shape with shading his white areas with a C1. And these guys are so tiny, I don't need to do a whole lot of blending. So I used an R02, but then pinkened it up with a R20, and that's going to be the same color as our pig here, and darken him up with an R21. And then I decided I think he should be he needs a little more shading with an R22. So he's quite the handsome pig. Okay, that was bad. All right. So cute little guy. So I just love these characters. My chick is going to be a Y11 for some brightness, and then tone it down with a Y21 and 23, and then a YR14 for his beak and feet, and a little bit up at the top as well, but kind of blend that in with that Y11. All right, time for our farmer. And I took the E's that I had on my desk and I thought, oh, I'll put some E50, E31. And I thought, oh no, he needs to kind of get a little more color in his skin. He was looking a little pale. So I gave him E11, which is one of my go tos for skin. And then onto his overalls with a B34, a 32 for that little pocket, and then a B37 to shade that. Now, I like these overalls. I like the blue jean look, but I don't know if you ever saw Mr. Green Jeans growing up on Captain Kangaroo. I think next time I gotta make this guy with green jeans. Why a man was ever called Mr. Green Jeans? I just think that's hilarious. All right, well, I digress. A red shirt and some brown in the E30 category for his hair, and then he's going to have a straw hat that's Y21 and Y23. I really do like the Y20s. I think they just have a nice buttery look. All right, time for the coordinating dies. I'm finding them all for each of the images. I'll tape them down with some low-tack tape and run them all through my die cut machine. And here they are, ready to get to the farm. So I have the T pieces that go with the pop-up platform, and I'm putting an 1/8 inch double-sided tape on each of these. and that is going to be strong enough to hold whatever I want. Now, this piece of grass also comes from the PopUp Platform, and that's in Cilantro cardstock. And I'm just going to arrange my goats how I want them to go on that little section, and I want to make sure that I stay within that grass line just so that I don't have any problem with them being too far out. So tack those down with some adhesive, and then I decided I want a few little extras to go with them. So I have that tin can and some flowers. And so it's just a matter of arranging those. So a couple of flowers in between the goats there. And then I'm going to take my scissors and just snip between this goat's legs so that he can hold on to that can. He's a happy guy. He's got that tin can. I hope it all goes well for him. All right. So just add that can on there, and this layer is ready to go. Now this hill also comes along with the pop-up platform, and I am going to use that as the base for the barn. You won't see much of it at all, but I still like that it's there. I feel good it's there. It's going to cover up that T for one thing, and then also just a nice way to get that barn on there. And so a little more 1/8 inch double-sided tape, and I can just stick that right on there. And then this is where my tiny farm folks and animals are going to hang out back by the barn. So, kind of giving it a little perspective where the goats are larger, so they're in front, and this barn is in the background with the animals. So, a little cow, and I could put this pig inside the door. I think that would be fun, except that it's gonna be hard to get that door open, so I'm just gonna keep him outside next to our farmer there. It would be hard to get behind the goat lair to open those doors. On the other hand, that little chick is gonna hang out in the hayloft because that won't have anything in the way. Our third layer is a picket fence and hillside, and the hillside is in cilantro, but I don't need much of it, just enough for that tea. So I cut it to that length, and then I'm cutting off so that the fence ends in just a fence post. I'll make sure that that fence is centered, and then I'll cut off the little bit of extra on the side. Add some double-sided tape to the T, again, the 1/8 inch, and then add my fence. Third layer is complete. The pop-up platform background is a great place to make a fourth layer, if you ask me. So I use the Gotta Have gingham, but I used the 6 by 6 size so that I would have the white on the other side. So I'm ink blending a sky. Now it's not going to look great right away, but that's okay. I'm using a cloudy stencil and some salty ocean oxide inks. Just getting the look of clouds on the back there. I'm going to have hills back there, so a lot of that will be covered up. Just want the sense of a sky with some clouds in it. And so blending those up to the edge. And yeah, I know it doesn't look great, but don't worry. It will be fine because I have this forest border and again a hillside border. And look, you don't see much, but you see enough to say, oh, there's the sky back there. All right, just deciding where or how far up I want my forest border, kind of figuring that out. And then I'm going to use a pencil to figure out where I want to cut that. So I'll trim both the two layers, and I think this is a little too high or decided to go a little lower. Anyway, I'm gonna trim off a little bit more of my hillside, and we're all set to go now. I'll glue those two pieces together, and then I'm going to set them on the background and find the score lines and just put a little mark there because I want to cut those into pieces so that they don't have a problem when it's kind of folded, so that they each have their own section there. Glue those pieces onto the background, and we'll consider this layer the back 40. So this is the back 40 acres of the farm. So it's a good size farm. Anyway, I make sure it folds forward nicely, and it does, and it's good to go. I want a little bit of interest on those back hills. You may be able to see it from the front, maybe not, but I like to have all these little details. And so I'm just taking my white gel pen and making some puffs. Little, I don't know, circular oval shapes, but with little, no, more like little clouds, I guess. But this is going to show some perspective as well, because these are our little sheep, and they're going to be even smaller than the animals over by the barn. So taking a multi-liner, this Copic multi-liner, adding some little legs for the sheep, and I'll also add some little faces. So they have little black faces on these sheep. So these three are gonna be headed one way, and then these two are gonna be headed towards their friends over there. So just a little interest on the back 40. And this is a pretty functional farm if they have sheep and goats. So yeah, it's good. All right, moving on to the pop-up platform itself. I cut out two of the main pieces, and I am folding them, and all I need to do is keep folding a mountain fold. I don't have to back fold anything. So just fold everything forward. And I cut these out of the Gotta Have Gingham 12 by 12 pack so that they have gingham on both sides. Once I have all the score lines folded, I'm going to add some double-sided tape. This is 1/4 inch tape, and I'm putting them on the tabs. So there's a tab at the top, and there's one tab on the side. So both pieces have a tab on the side and one at the top. Then I'm going to fold my die cut piece in half and take off that release paper and tuck down that tab and just press it down. And there it is. It's all set to go. I'll do that with my second one as well. Just fold it down, flip over that tab, and that is it. These are really simple, and that's how they're going to kind of come together. But I'm going to wait. I want to put on my background. So I'm just going to work with one side at a time. So that's where my background's going to sit. I want a piece of 1/8 inch double-sided tape, because that'll fit right nicely at the top there. Take off that release paper and add my background. Now I'm going to bring in my 3 layers, and the back layer will fit into that slit that's cut in the pop-up platform. I'm putting a piece of 1/4 inch double-sided tape on the tab at the bottom of the T and folding that. And then I'm going to slip it into that slit, and then I can grab it from inside with my fingers. Make sure that piece is folded, and then just press everything down, and that will come out with the tab stuck to the bottom, and it's perfect. All right, the second layer is going to go between the two pieces. So I don't need the tab, I'm cutting that off, and I'm going to put some double-sided tape on the back of this tab. Well, it's not a tab, but it's the back of the T, and then that will sit between the two layers of my box. Make sure that I've got it sitting at the right spot there, and it's ready to go. So 2 layers onto the back. I'm going to add my front layer to the other piece, and so I folded back that tab, putting on some double-sided tape, and again I'm going to slip it into that opening and then take my fingers in there, and once it's folded I can just fold everything and I'll show you that you can see there it is. It's on the bottom and it's perfect. So there are the goats, and I'm going to put these two together now. They each have a tab, and so that tab will be tucked in. So I'm going to take off the release paper, and I've decided to put them on, but then I remembered I wanted to add some tape to the center. I just felt like, I don't even know if you need it, but it just, to me, it felt like it was more secure if I did that, and no harm done, right? It's not going to hurt anything. So now I'm going to put that tab in and fold the back right on it, and then take off the other side, and going to tuck that inside the fold. So there it is. The box is all set. Now I want to put the sentiment on the front, and there is a sentiment in the "You Goat This" that says, "You goat this." So I'm going to use that, but I'm just going to use parts of it. So the "you" and the "this." So I'm just getting my clear ink and masking the areas I don't want, stamping that down, and then I'm going to use some white embossing powder, sprinkle that on, and I'll melt that with my heat gun, and then we'll have "you" and "this." And of course, the goat will be coming from Henry's ABC. So I have that in Noble Fir cardstock, kind of to match the tree line in the background. And I didn't want the "you" and "this" to get lost, so that's why they're on some red, and they also match my barn. I'm going to put some little fishtails into my tiny banners and decide where they're going to end up. Putting one up at the top, and then the "this" is going to go down by the T. First, I'll glue the letters on, and then I know that that will give me the placement to put on that little banner. So I think I have my letters lined up, and here's my final little banner. And let's watch this in action. All right, so it goes down, and you can see my weather vane up at the top. Now that goes further out. So you could do one of two things. You can take the weather vane off, or cut off the top of the barn just using the bottom of it and put the weather vane on. But I'm going to keep it on. I'll probably just get a bigger envelope for it. So there it is. It goes up and sits nice and folds flat. Our goats are at the front of the farm, playing and ready to say, "You goat this." Well, I hope you enjoyed the video today and it inspired you to make a pop-up platform for yourself. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.